Grok, the AI platform, 85% of the images that it's producing right now are nude or sex related.
Really? That actually sounds right to me. Like, what else are you going to use it for?
I use it for home design.
Use Grok for home design?
Are all the the Grok prints like all the naked women on sheets or something? Like what?
No, it's like men topless vacuuming in my new living room.
That's what Grok is so deeply trained on that if you're like home decor, that's what it's going to produce anyway.
They all look a little like Elon too.
More or less. Is it no or is it yes? We'll debate the text that's best when we get more or less. Dave and Brit plus Sam and Jess. Put it all right to the test. More or less.
Why, hello, friends. Happy New Year and welcome to More or Less. We missed you guys.
Hey guys, Happy New Year.
We made it.
We made it. How's 2026 going? What's the report?
It's very warm and wet.
There's no snow anywhere except Tahoe. I hear there's snow in Tahoe.
The snow's coming, Dave. We just do our snow dances.
I don't believe it.
Why don't you believe it?
I've never seen 40 degree to 50 degree days in January in Montana and Wyoming. It was like raining after the New Year. It's pretty rare. Maybe 10 years ago was the last time I've seen it.
I choose optimism.
All right, fair.
We can do nothing about this.
I'll ride that train.
It's an outlier year.
Outlier year. So snow report, meh. How's the first week of January treating you? I see you're not at CES. No one here is at CES.
Well, I haven't been to CES since I worked on Google TV like in 2010. However, I get really excited about CES. I think I'm the only one that gets excited about it. Guys, I've tracked all the cool things. I'm happy to talk about them this episode. There's some really cool shit.
Is it the takeover of the robots?
I find that all boring and obvious. I'm interested in the Lego Smart Brick, the robotic turtle.
The Lego Smart Brick is cool. There's
this new digital nail polish thing that happened. It's not necessarily venture scale, but it's interesting for my lifestyle. So we can talk about it.
It's like CES is the anti-venture scale conference.
I know. Well, NVIDIA, of course, always steals the show. And so I just disregard most of the headlines. But then I find the cool random gadgets and things that I think will help my life. So,
but don't these cool random gadgets rarely see the light of day? I mean, I have only scar tissue from CESs over the years. So I'm the wrong person to speak to about this.
It's 1 to 5 gadgets from CES every year see the light of day.
But I'm like a Kickstarter maxi. I'm always about trying the weird gadgets that will never exist a year from now, just because I feel I like to try to live in the future. And I feel you can actually get a thematic understanding of what a lot of people are trying to work on. So, different types of spaces that people are building in.
Okay. So give us the trends in 30 seconds, because it's all I can take.
Okay. So obviously there's rollable screens, robots, smart wearable tech, blah, 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 Pebble. Remember that brand Pebble? It's back, by the way. They have smartwatches and rings.
All the cool 2010 companies are back.
2010 companies are back. There's another smart oven that's not the June oven called the ISO, AISO, that has a camera and all the smart things inside of it. Okay, fine. But Lego launched the Smart Brick, which is super rad. It uses Bluetooth technology to actually build a mesh network and understand other Legos around it. It can light up, it can make noises. So if you build a car Lego, it can crash into things and actually make car noises. I think it's super rad. It's going to start launching this year.
The minifigures are also can be activated somehow. I hope what it is actually pointing towards is a broader ecosystem of cool stuff that Lego's about to do.
Okay, so the winner of CS is Lego, is what you're telling me. Okay.
From a consumer standpoint, obviously not venture scale.
And this is why none of this matters.
Well, I'll also tell, okay, you get one more CS point.
Okay, I can only do one more?
I'm so bored. You know what CES happens right after CES, I believe, is the Adult Entertainment Expo.
Oh, okay, wait. I'll do my one more first, Sam. It's called AMI, AMI. It's getting a lot of hype on the internet. It's a little snow globe thing you can put on your nightstand or around your home, and you can pick the character inside of it, like a hot girl for you, Sam, or something like that. And then you talk to it all day. And you can have it around your house talking to it. It's supposed to be your AI soulmate, but it it exists with you, almost like a wearable, but not quite.
Boring.
Sam wants to get on to his extremely pessimistic take on 26.
No, I don't have it. Although a lot of venture capitalists are emailing me that I've been very pessimistic.
Listeners, here's what you're in for today. Buckle up. Sam dumped a missive on themes for 2026 that has gone viral. So we have to get to that.
I'm not sure how viral it is, but
You know what? You can, if 3 people emailed him back, who's to say that's not viral? All I know is CNBC booked him before TITV booked him in response to this memo, guys.
that is true.
So take that, Andrew, or the other way around. But then information broke a story today about OpenAI's new health app.
Is that Ashley Yuki's?
I've got a lot to say about that too. We got to talk
Well,
about
I
that.
don't know if Ashley's, I think this is what Ashley's doing, but
It's got to be Ashley. Go Ashley. We love Ashley.
and I got to say, this will be an opportunity for me to walk you all through my 3 boys, 3 rashes, all correctly diagnosed by ChatGPT this break. So we can talk about that. I think those are our main agendas. We'll have some things on the side, the predictions, health. Let's wrap up CES though, because
Because no one cares.
well, also, here's what we care. Remember we were talking, I know this is not this gang's favorite topic, but the trade war, the H200, Trump allowed it to be sold to China, but there's this big question of will Chinese companies buy it? He, of course, the US government is going to take a percentage of the sales. Jensen on the stage at CES saying, orders have been strong. We're optimistic about demand for this product. And from China, overnight, breaking from the information, China has said to its tech industry, no H200s. You may not buy H200s. No soup for you. It's a temporary thing in the sense that they could reconsider it. It was also kind of what was expected. But I gotta give a big, big shout out to our team that has really actually following from very difficult reporting in China what the reaction to this is. So it's very interesting because we have seen, I unfortunately think, much like the story of TikTok and ByteDance, we will be talking about the US-China tech trade war long beyond the lifetime of this podcast. But anyway.
Jess, do we want a cheese and charcuterie board or a sweet and treat holiday box from Greylock?
What?
You know, I want neither. If a VC is making you click a button of which holiday gift to accept, I say they didn't get the memo with all love for Greylock about what's latest in gifting.
Okay, I'm going with the charcuterie board.
I mean, guys, what I know Slow Ventures didn't do a holiday gift for anyone. Did offline?
Yeah, we absolutely did. We made our book.
Oh, right. You have the Etiquette book. I'm sorry.
It's like you've forgotten already.
I have actually. That was so 2025.
But I have ideas for big swag in 26. But I got a cool wrap, cashmere wrap from 8BC. So that was like my nicest.
Oh, I got that too. That was a nice wrap.
Is that a wrap or a blanket? Do you wear that?
At first I was wondering it too, and I decided I'm going to make it a wrap. So thanks, Joe and 8BC.
That was from, they financed Quince?
Quince, yeah, the huge apparel brand.
How does they do defense? They do defense and Quince? Confusing.
Well, Quince did $2 billion in revenue this year.
Quince is on a tear.
I get it. They're clearly crushing. I just didn't know it was so right-wing coded. I'm surprised.
What is Quince? I thought it was a restaurant in San Francisco.
Quince is like, think Zara meets cashmere.
What? How is that? That's an oxymoron.
Okay, Dave, reasonable prices for high-end textile apparel.
Oxymoron.
High end. I mean, again, I love the blanket, Joe, or the wrap, or the whatever
like
it is.
Actually good feeling apparel, but very basic designs. There's no art.
Good feeling still falls apart.
Exactly. You're not going to be wrapped in this come next January break.
I don't know. We'll see.
Were there any other, lots of wine. What else? I got a light up Christmas tree that I thought,
I got puzzles. I got the John Doerr annual puzzle.
oh, love the puzzles.
We got a lot of junky gifts from airplane companies.
I don't think most people got those.
Oh, speaking of things no one cares about.
So many water bottles. Okay. Yeah. Nothing that hit it out of the park. The gifting lane wide open in 2026. I called books in 2025. I'm not yet ready to call 2026, but it's coming, guys. Elon Musk is going to be a trillionaire.
I was thinking about this the other day. Okay, so here's an interesting Elon Musk trillionaire point. Since we've now embraced, since all that matters in 2026 is narratives, not reality, and the narrative is he's a trillionaire.
On to Sam's dystopia.
Here's the interesting thing. How many billionaires even are there in the US?
I don't know, Sam. How many?
I don't know. I'm chat GPTing in here. I think there's like a few thousand, maybe. There are, let's see how fast chat GPT is. So chat GPT says globally there's 3,000. Let's assume that's probably dramatically low.
I would say it's way more.
I think it's probably twice that, right? Is my bet, right? But the interesting thing about that is that a trillion is a lot of money. So a trillion is 1,000 billions. So if you took ChatGPT's estimate, which is wrong, because it's probably wrong at least by 50%, and let's pretend it is 3,000, we're saying that you could add another third effectively, or like, let's say 25% of billionaires just by dividing Elon Musk up. That's like an insane concept, just to put it in perspective. Like, I always visualize this stuff and thinking about like exponential curves or like a star blowing up, and then you kind of like have like things at different velocities, right? That are like, or different acceleration rates, and you just end up with a solar system with like these crazy outliers. And like that is just, trillion is like a word that's now in our lexicon, but a trillion's a really big number. That's my point of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why billionaire isn't the right word to use to describe this universe anymore, right? Because there's also a lot of 100 billionaires, which 100 billion is extremely larger than a billion.
This is the Welcome to More or Less podcast. We talk about what are big numbers, actually rich people. Like, I think it's like interesting, like, if you think about it, there's been a lot of inflation in the world. So like $1 billion today, especially pre-tax, you have to divide by 2, right?
This is where I get prepared to pull Sam's mic, everybody. Okay. Like, I don't know where we're going. I'm going to have to disown this like really fast.
Is $1 billion, just one, if you haven't paid taxes on it yet, meaning like, it's a liquid stock, but you haven't, it's just an asset base, and it's 2026. Is that even a lot of money? Because if you think about it, first of all, taxes makes it worth 500 million before a wealth tax.
Yes, Sam, it's a lot of money.
Do you know how many people played the recent lottery that was worth $1 billion? It's like half of America.
Divide by two to 500 million for taxes.
It's still a lot of money, Sam.
Well, but then remember that it's 2026. There's been a shit ton of inflation. So like $1 billion today is kind of like $250 million post-tax, like a decade ago or 15 years ago. It's obviously a lot of money, but it's like not that much money.
Okay. I don't know where this is going.
We're talking about Elon. Let's go back to Elon.
Yeah. Well, we can also talk about the wealth tax, which we should. So that's been another, sorry guys, I decided I need 2 candles.
Oh, yeah. Aren't a lot of people moving out of California right now?
Yes.
They're all going to move.
Do they have to move? When do they have to move by?
January 1st.
Yeah, it's like, how good is California at getting its money?
Last October.
Which of our friends have moved in the last 2 months?
Well, basically, let's do the TLDR on this.
Okay, but can we go? I want to go, but I want to do the wealth tax thing before we get back to this. ChatGPT actually, again, it's wrong. It's, I'm sure, way low, but it thinks there are 900 billionaires. That means that if you just divided Elon Musk into $1 billion allotments, he would double the American billionaires according to these numbers. That's wild, right? Just when you think about how big a trillion is.
Guys, I have to continue to beat this viral tweet thread. Can we still say X thread? I mean, I think that one of the risks, and this isn't to like hype the AI bubble, but one of the risks is that we don't quite fully grok the order of magnitude of wealth and liquidity that 2026/7 are going to bring. And like and all the reverberations of that.
What, because of SpaceX alone?
Just all the things happening. Discord's going public now.
But it's really SpaceX. SpaceX,
Anthropic, OpenAI. Remember ByteDance?
Anthropic's now a $350 billion company. That's wild.
Like OpenAI, Anthropic. I mean, ByteDance has resolved one of the many issues. There are still a billion issues, but ByteDance is a meta. I mean, if you look at it, then you talk about Anduril, Canva. I mean, like all these other ones.
Well, and all the acquisitions that are also going to happen are continuing to happen, like Grok, by the way, offline company. Well, not an acquisition, but sort of.
Ooh, congrats.
Wait, am I getting paid on that? Brit, am I getting some money?
It's an interesting one because they position it as a licensing agreement. So we're figuring it out, but potentially, yes. Anyway, But $20 billion, it's NVIDIA's biggest acquisition. We saw Meta acquire Manus over the holiday. Like, it's just like all of these multi-billion dollar acquisitions are also adding to the floodgates opening this year.
20. So our reporters, like, this is how the wonderful news ecosystem works. Like, there's a big deal going down, right? So then we get in a conference room and we have every spreadsheet of like every big company. Like Grok was not on, this is on us, was not on the $20 billion valuation trade.
Well, the last round they raised, which was a few months ago, was at like 6. So this was definitely a premium.
That's on us. But okay, so let's just quick. I mean, we have not addressed this wealth tax issue. We can come back to it many, many times and will.
It's so stupid.
Explain what it is for people who don't know.
Yeah, let me just quickly explain, right?
No one listening to this podcast doesn't know what it is.
What?
Sam, there are a couple people. Proposal will be scheduled to go to a vote this year in California. Have more than $1 billion in liquid or illiquid assets, pay 5% over 5 years.
Illiquid is the dumbest part.
Right. Some people think if you're domiciled in California in January, some people think last October. Anyway, this is why we saw Peter Thiel, Larry Page, David Sachs open Austin offices in the last 10 days or thereabouts. And, it is not an exaggeration to say this is the topic of every coffee, cocktail party, dinner party, right? It comes up. And what I think is really interesting, and listeners of the pod, if you have any thoughts on this, hit me in the comments or my email. But there hasn't been as much attention. There's been attention on the Uber billionaires or whatever we want to call them. But like, what about the startup founder who owns 10% of their company? It's an AI company. So its Series B was valued by so-and-so at $10 billion.
No, its seed. Its seed was valued at $2 billion. It's Mira Murati's company.
Yeah. And I mean, this Mira probably falls into this bucket now. And law passes as of date, you're a billionaire. You're going to own 5% over 5 years. And then, surprise, surprise, you sell the company 2 years later for $2.5 billion. You still owe the money. So I think there are a lot of interesting things like that. And this isn't, we can have a debate about wealth taxes are good or bad or whatever. We're not really experts on that. I'm not sure you should. Yeah, I agree. But I think it's interesting to watch the on the ground conversation happening now of like all these other fallout effects, right? And also the one thing I'll say too is you talk to the people really affected by this. It's not just like a one-time tax, right? It's what it could represent. And I think that's also motivating people in terms of, other random tax. Like no one thinks, so the proponents of it are like, it's a one-time thing, no big deal. But it seems like that's not how history works. So that's currently the state of play. The poly market odds of it passing have jumped significantly. It's hard to imagine Californians voting down something appears on their ballot in this way. But
I'm just so excited because if you have mere millions of dollars, the amount of awesome real estate for sale, I mean, it's going to be great. We're going to have such awesome houses.
Okay. That's the wealth tax. We'll keep the conversation going.
It's just an incredibly stupid move. Look, I do think California is going to do very, very, like this year is California's year to like, if they can't balance the budget, if these IPOs happen with like, they're very bad. Like they should make so much money this year from the IPOs and people selling stocks. So like good on California. This is your moment. If you push everyone out though, which is what they're doing, then you get no soup, right? And like, so the idea that you would want like to kill the golden goose and be like, all right, if anything, you should do the opposite. You could have a billionaire thank you rebate. Maybe billionaires pay lower taxes.
What is the golden goose?
The golden goose is like all the leadership. It's like basically the leaders of these biggest, most important companies being like, we're going to be in California. By the way, that means our entire management team needs to be in California. By the way, that means like we need to like have all this infrastructure and all of our best engineers and people in California. Like it's insane that this is like the dumbest idea. And the funny thing about it is like, I think anyone smart gets that it's a dumb idea. Even like, I think Gavin Newsom understands that it's also, by the way, terrible for his political career because if this passes, he will never be president, which is clearly what he wants.
It has little to do with him though. And isn't that the real conversation here? Which is like, why is this happening?
Because some union proposed it because they're dicks. It's just an incredibly bad idea.
He can't veto it.
Come on, Sam. There's stuff in your document that refers to the actual real behind why this is happening.
That is fair.
Let's go to Sam's document. Again, if you didn't get this document, you're not on the list. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
It's not on Twitter.
I kind of I like posted it in tiny fonts on Twitter to annoy people.
Okay, Sam. So we actually, our last episode of the year was a lot of predictions. You've built on that with some, what would you call them, themes?
Well, we were flying back from vacation and I was like, what is this year about? Like, what is really happening? And so I sat down and wrote my stream of consciousness on it. And it starts with this point that like reality no longer matters. What matters is perception and storytelling as much as anything else. So there's a lot of things going on where like realistically, they may or may not actually be happening right now or be completely true. But the fact that people believe them to be true is going to dominate how they behave and what happens. So a good example is that there's a whole part about like everyone seems quite convinced that the value of white collar human labor is going to zero, or the value of labor is going to zero because of robots and AI and whatever this stuff. Regardless of whether that's actually true and on what timeline, the fact that everyone believes it to be true means no one's setting up their careers, means people like don't want to hire. Like there's all these like knock-on effects, and it actually becomes true. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy to some degree. So I don't know, it's just a set of things. It starts with kind of what I call like the collusion between like the debt crisis, GDP growth imperative, and the AI build out, where like we need AI to have any prayer of hitting, you know, the GDP we need to deal with the debt problem, which I think is like kind of the biggest narrative going on. It's our version of a Chinese housing boom. You know, things like Venezuela, which are kind of just like GDP sweeteners. Like if you just say, hey, all we really care about is our debt problem, right? Like biggest picture, and anything that can plug that hole we're excited about. Like that's kind of how you get there. And then just like to Dave's point, there is a bunch on like the compounding impact of technology and leverage and finance, where you do just get like, you know, a set of discontinuous outcomes, whether it's trillionaires or whatever, that are just historically unheard of, right? But that's what technology and leverage does. And so when you do that, I mean, and you know, even in this doc, there is a section on wealth taxes. Like it's kind of like this, everything is downstream of just that fact, right? So if you said there are only two themes that really matter on the year, or three, I'd say one is that like narratives matter even now more than ever. They always mattered. Now they really matter in terms of how the world shapes itself. Two, everything is about fundamentally the debt crisis we have in the US and trying to figure out how to like not fall prey to that. And then three is just the compounding reality of technology and financial leverage, which is just getting more and more liquid and more frictionless. And like there's a bunch of stuff that happens because of that.
So Sam, how does this affect what you're going to invest in?
I mean, I think that maybe the most simplistic answer is twofold. One is, you know, stories always mattered in terms of, you know, great companies. But again, if you just believe that stories really matter now, I think that honestly, thinking about companies that aren't just like great money-making machines, but have a fundamental story of infinity associated with them is extremely important. Because if there are narratives that are discontinuous to the upside and limited on the down, like that's kind of what matters right now. You know, you look at these companies and everyone's like, yeah, it's a fine business. You know, it can do okay. You know, maybe it's $1 billion outcome. There's a version of seed investing in the world where like doing a bunch of those is a good idea. But, you know, on the flip side, if Anthropic's raising a $350 billion valuation, it's even more top heavy, right, than ever before in terms of what the outcomes look like. Assuming capital efficiency, which is a whole other set of assumptions, you kind of just need to be very, very focused on the narrative and you know, how world crushing can it be? It's why something like a SpaceX or an Anduril or a, you know, OpenAI, like they're great stories. And so I think that's like one very practical implication. I don't know. What else? What are the other implications?
How hard is it to create great story in a world where, at least in our ecosystem, everyone is talking to each other digitally? They're transcripting everything. They're talking to the same models. Everybody is actually kind of in this like...
Everyone's pretty mid.
Yeah, everybody's like, it's like all collapsing into this like AI-driven black hole.
We probably need to fund some monks on hills.
Yeah. I mean, like that's what I keep thinking about is that like there's this like group narrative. I don't know. Have you guys seen the TV show Pluribus yet?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
We saw the first episode, Sam. I liked it.
Yeah, it's not my thing. Oh, yeah.
It gets better.
Yeah.
Keep going.
It's just that everybody everyone that is working on anything in this town now is like this giant hive mind, like talking to this same AI, right? And what does that mean for narrative, actually, Sam?
I think it's a great question, Dave. But I honestly do think, like, yes, like the narrative is pervasive. Here's maybe this is a good thing. But I was speaking to a software founder this morning who's been successful. They've made money. They have an app. They have a company that's working. They're starting to tinker with apps. And we're like, what should you do? Like, should you work on the company? Like, what? And like, here's what we kind of netted out on is if you're a founder, software is no longer any sort of differentiator. Software is just like consumable. Like, it's like a piece of media. Like, it's not like you can't build a software company.
I think this is new though, Sam. Though we've been talking about this for 2 years on this podcast, I think in the last 3 months,
Claude-code makes it the final boss.
it actually happened.
Yeah, so it's just like you can't build a quote unquote software company. What you can do if you love building and tinkering and you have a great product mind is you can build a personal brand and trust and just do whatever you want, right? And build cool stuff with the understanding it's all consumable and it will all be copied instantly. But you can still build like a credibility in your own distribution and like there's like assets you can build around that.
But how do you build a business?
Well, that's the thing is like if you're going to do that, you can do that. Or if you're going to build a business, it can't be, if it used to be that there were like 1,000 people that had the idea, because no idea is actually that precious. But of those 1,000, 990 couldn't write the software or build it. Now assume all 1,000 can build it, right? Like, what is the differentiator? It is, I think, trust. I think it is. I think it's insight into the network. I think it's business development. I think it's community. Like, there are things, the assets you start with, or the assets that like are differentiating, are not your engineering team, right? Is almost the way I would look at it.
Or are we oversimplifying this? That, I was looking up the numbers yesterday that there was around 3 million software engineers building on the iPhone, another 6 million. Maybe there's some overlap between those two that build on Android. But there's like, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 6 billion people using software on mobile phones. And so the fact that the universe of people that could build for that surface was so small. And now, I don't know what's Claude-code and all of the subsequent tools that are going to come out to make it easy to build stuff going to cause? Like, will it be, I don't know, another 10 million software developers? Does that really mean there's no software businesses to be made? Or does it just mean that more people can create software businesses and that there will be less large-scale, super centralized software businesses?
Well, or just be like everyone just, which we've talked about many times in the pod, it's like everyone just like build their own software. Like, you can't, there's no pricing power in software because we charge too much. Someone just build it themselves. Like, it's not like, you'll use things if they're near free because like, why not? But like, it's just not worth it, right? You can't charge that much for software.
It's all pretty mid though, right? Don't you think? It's like yesterday I saw on Twitter, someone built something with like the yearly calendar view. And then like just after that, 5 people replied like, I made my own version. Like, it was like.
Yeah, and then I saw this morning that 37 Signals integrated that view already into Basecamp.
I know. And then I saw Jason Fried write about like, yeah, so we just integrated it into Hey. So like, but that's not super complex.
To pause on that for a second, I think that was a really important thing that happened this week, that 37 Signals saw this thing happen on the internet and instantly vibe coded it into their larger scale SaaS app,
which they sell.
That's a new thing that's not happened before.
Well, the guy that made it initially did it for free. Just like, I was tinkering with my calendar and now so they took it, put it into their software that they sell. And is that fine? And also, does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, he open sourced it. It's fine.
It's just a feature. It's fine. But like, if someone else were to do that, in a different way, I don't know. There's like really interesting ethics around it.
I don't think there's ethics. First of all, there are no ethics. We just watched 1923? What's the miner's speech?
He says, I am a businessman. There's no ethic. I have no morals. Morals.
What I'm saying though is like,
it's not ethics. It's like there's a morality or something.
That guy in particular was like, I open source this. There used to be this idea of like you're granting permission for people to copy and add on to the thing you made. And now it's just like, why do I need to ask permission? I'm just going to go.
Because you're just overthinking this.
Well, this is just hive mind again.
There's always been a hive mind, or there's always been the version of the copycat thing that shakes out. And if you build a durable business, you build something unique that people need and has a business model around it. I mean, I don't know how, if I were in your shoes, I would sift through and like spot these companies early. And like that sounds like a whole different kind of challenge. But I don't know. We're overthinking this.
I mean, it is a serious challenge, Jess. If you were talking to venture capitalists even 2 years ago, or any former entrepreneur, they would tell you that like the greatest business model ever created is software, and that you should spend most of your time investing in and building software because the, marginal cost of replication is zero. You can like make it an enormous amount of money. And as I look back across the last 12 months, there's a lot of people investing in SaaS still in the last 12 months. And Sam's right. Like you can just replicate this stuff now in like less than a day. And that radically changes. Well, yes, but like up until the last 3 months, software was the greatest business model in the world. And now it's not. And like you have to figure out like what is the next thing.
Look, I think for me, this is all speaks back to this whole broader theme of like the ladder getting pulled up, right? Which is like, you can't just be like a software kid anymore and be like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to make some money. Like, you know what I mean? Like my job is secure and I can always like build something. Like the dream changes, right? And so I think for me, like that's, I think the big social question is like, I do think there's this like generational gap, right, thing going on, right? Which is going to be culturally really, really challenging. I mean, I remember, yeah.
Or is it just simple, Sam, that we're going to go back to building things and building things in the real world? Just like things where...
No, because people don't want the real world. They want Brit's AI girlfriend orb.
My AI girlfriend. Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. This is actually where I pretty strongly disagree with your take on this. Like, I think actually...
Yes, Dave, go for it. Give me the strong disagree.
I think people actually dramatically do want the real world. I think people do want connection with other humans. I think that they are crying out for it, and that the abstractions that they're dealing with are ever more in their way, and we have to be even more intentional about it. Like this was also one of the things I talked about in my, predictions for next year, which is that, smaller trust networks, like embodied real world experiences, like are going to matter even more as this plays out.
So it's interesting. I think it's going to be a have and have nots. I obviously believe that small networks and trust matter an enormous amount. It's creator fun, on board, believe in it, the whole 9 yards. Here's my thing. Let's go back to like, it's hilariously as a version of just like extreme abstraction, this like personal relationship thing. And let's do the girlfriend thing because it's just obvious and like an easy extreme to talk about. Imagine in the near future, you can have an AI driven girlfriend, right? Boyfriend, companion, whatever, that is exactly what you want, but digital, always available, says that it does all the things you want, like is like a perfect companion in every possible way, but is digital. And then contrast that with a real relationship, which is in the real world that is expensive and mucky and not perfect in the whole 9 yards. What do 99.9% of people choose? They choose the easy thing. It's sugar, right?
I don't know that it's 99.
I think it's also short term or versus long term. I think it fizzles out after.
I don't know. Or just, think about what we know from social networks and friends. Like the original social networks, which we were all proud to be a part of and help, in a lot of ways. The whole theory was to push and like create more human real world connection, like to make social liquidity higher, help people meet you a whole. That was fine. It turned out that through a bunch of generations, it's actually really hard to meet up with people in the real world. This is why everyone's always trying to make like apps to hang out in real life and they never work because the friction's too high. What's super easy is clicking shit on TikTok, right? Or scrolling a feed or whatever. It's sugar, but it gives you some of the same dopamine hits at a fraction the cost, right? So you extract that out in terms of where it goes. And I just think I think it's very high-minded and true that actually real human relationships and facilitating those are what actually matter. And they're like extremely valuable in the long run. But I also think in some ways they're like a very high-class product because they're very expensive and they're very complicated and painful. And when presented with ever better online sugar, like, which again, I don't have any like fundamental, I don't think it's like fundamentally bad. I just think it's like physics. Like people will choose the cheaper, more available option.
But what you're missing, Sam, is that, again, on the time horizon, it all felt interesting and cool at first when we could not have friends and have like brands and other people and interests we follow. But what's happened now is like, we're all lonely. We like hate the world. We like don't want to be online, but it's sucking us in because it creates a chemical reaction.
Oh, did you read my? It sounds like you buy my pessimism.
So like we might have these AI companions and think we're happy in the short term. In the long term, we're like so upset and sad and lonely. And I think it's just another iteration of social media.
I'm just with you, Brit, that like, I think, Sam, embodiment beats abstraction. Like physical presence, real places, like the craft of building, nature. Like if you look at like the biggest trend in travel right now, it's like people want to literally be as close to nature as possible. It's like tent hotels and like, you know, they literally want their body to be as close to nature as they possibly can. Like health is exploding, right? Like people are like obsessed with longevity, doing the right things to stay healthy. Like the White House this morning literally changed the food rules for the country.
Oh, yeah. This was Joe Gebbia's first like design. Oh, you haven't seen this? Oh, guys, the second grade food pyramid we all saw, you know, was it Reagan or Bush? One of them, like where carbs were the bottom. Those were like the most important. It's flipped. Carbs are at the very top. Protein and veggies are at the bottom, except for it's an inverted triangle now. And Joe Gebbia, remember, he's like, what's his title? Like Chief Design Officer of America. It's like Helvetica font. It's like definitely got the Joe Gebbia touch on it.
No, it says that it does. It says designed by the Design Studio of America.
I'm like kind of psyched for him because I think this was like, I bet I was imagining when he was interviewing, he was like, all right, and my first product will be the food pyramid redesign. Anyway.
But wait, does it come with like shifting recommendations or do we just shift the,
No, all the recommendations changed.
Okay, got it. Just checking.
What is it that plants crave? Look, this is certainly true, Dave. Everything you're saying, I believe.
What are we discussing? What are we debating? I've lost the thread.
Like embodiment beats abstraction. Like I think there's this thing, like, are you going to abstract into like your mind living in digital space and your body living in meat space? Or are you going to be able to be present with humans? And like, I think that there's like a lot of like one last thing, which is that beyond that, I think that like agency in all of this is also the real scarce resource. Like people are like, they're afraid of automation, like Sam, all the things that you're talking about. But if you look at what happened in Silicon Valley over the holiday, it was like this rabid obsession with Claude-code. What is that really? People are trying to get control, to build things, to actually have agency in this like world where so much is becoming automated and abstracted. And so I think that you have counterbalancing forces.
How's Cursor doing? It's now Claude-code. I've lost track. What's going on?
No, that's separate.
Okay, and there's no cursor? We're short cursor?
No, we're very long cursor.
Short cursor.
No, we're very long cursor. Especially now that I realize that I own a bunch of cursor stock. Very long cursor.
From who?
I was surprised too, Brit, but hooray.
He really was. I was there when he discovered it.
I was like, oh, I have to totally change my tune on cursor now. A few things. One is like, look, there's always a culture, counterculture, right? And I agree that there's a real world counterculture thing. I agree that it's like better. And so people are going to crave it. And if they can afford it, and like can invest in it and deal with the pain of it, that's what they should want. It's better for you. It's just not the easy thing, what most people will choose. There's going to be weird, low friction, super weird subcultures. Like apparently I saw, do you guys get Vice magazine? Do you follow them on Instagram?
Wait, Vice? The brand?
I thought Vice went out of business.
It probably, yeah, but it's like someone's still updating the Twitter. You know, like it's out of business, but someone's still
saying smart Vice things.
Someone's still saying vicey things on Instagram, probably. But there was a thing that like was on the top of my feed about how apparently in Los Angeles there are like all these like random park sex parties going on now where people just go up and have sex in parks.
Embodiment, Sam. They just want embodiment.
Yeah, like there's this wild subcultures going on. And so like I do think that is people being like, I'm so disconnected online, I'm just going to go to a park.
Wait, what? I don't get it. They just go to a park like it's like a just random hookup?
Yeah, it's like really skeezy, right? Like, but like this is like a thing according to whoever's running the Vice social media accounts.
But I think you can argue this is also happening in the digital, whatever, futuristic world. Grok, the AI platform, not the one that Offline was part of, who just raised more money, by the way. 85% of the images that it's producing right now are nude or sex related.
Really?
Yes.
That actually sounds right to me.
Of course it does.
Yeah, like what else are you going to use it for? Like seriously.
I use it for home design.
Use Grok for home design?
Oh, I mean, I just use AI models in general.
Are all the the Grok prints like all the naked women on sheets or something? Like what? Like,
For me, it's naked men.
fine, that still counts. It's like a penis clock.
Men, it's actually, no, it's like men topless vacuuming in my new living room.
Because that's what Grok is so deeply trained on, that if you're like home decor, that's what it's going to produce anyway.
They all look a little like Elon too, but I don't know what that's about.
Okay, you guys have, okay. This is obviously the fascinating debate, and no one knows what reality we're all going to be living in, real or fake or
Yeah, but we're going to try to bet on it anyway.
nature camping. But I also think, I mean, not to like evoke the great Taylor Sheridan again, which we'll do, but 1923, and you've got
Oh, that's the 1923 you're talking about.
yes, you've got
I'm on Landman.
Landman is so good.
so good.
Landman is the best.
What's his name? Harrison Ford. He's just sitting there in his Montana way of life, without his electricity, without his refrigerator, without his car. He's just protecting the land. And the automobiles are coming. Like in the last episode, they took his horse post and put a parking space for a car there that we saw. And he's like, the way of life is changing. We're at the same point.
It's true, but it does feel fair to ask the question, what kind of society do we want to live in, right? Like these are enormous, like AI is like an enormous amplifier, right? Like it's going to radically amplify, curious people are more curious. If you want to build more, you can build more. Addictive personalities are going to spiral. Like all the things are going to happen, right? Massive amplifier.
It's a story of more.
And back to what started this whole conversation, which was the wealth tax, like what is underlying all of this? There's like, the wealth tax, before that it was mega. There's like a real underlying, malaise, disgruntled sort of vibe. And there's like a sickness in society, Sam, that I think you kind of just like detailed through in your thing. And we have to ask this question, like, what kind of society do we want to live in? And how do we want to use these tools? And it feels like that's the animating body politic kind of question right now.
But I also think here's the question. I had two comments to such question I want to make. Comment one is like, I think there's a big question you have to ask yourself, which is society downstream of technology, or is technology downstream of society? I'd argue that society is downstream of technology. Like we live in there's a physics to technology and what we can do and how we can interact. Society is just, it comes from that. It doesn't dictate to that, right? And so the reality is I just think like, the reason I'm kind of blasé about so much, I'm like, this is just what it is. Like, I don't.
But Sam, like, we do intervene, right? Like we do, like, that's why, I don't know, we don't usually talk about politics on this podcast, but like a wealth tax or any policy move, like, is an intervention.
Sort of, but here's the thing about that. Even those are downstream of technology. Like part of the reason you never had a wealth tax historically is you could never measure anyone's wealth historically or track it all. It wasn't banked. You had no panopticon. So like even the mere idea of a wealth tax is actually a reverberation of technology, because it literally was impossible to have had a conversation even 50 years ago, I would argue. People were like, what? So I think these things, everything is downstream of technology, including policy options. The question is then how do you deploy them? What are the results of those? And it is an interesting question about just how many degrees of freedom you have. It's why I'm kind of a fatalist or a technological determinist about all these things. Is like, I just don't think there's that many surprises here. If it's possible, it's going to happen, right? And technology makes new possibilities or new configurations possible. I don't think that at a societal level, we have many tools to push back against it. I think these things just kind of run their course, and you as a society. Now, I will say the second point, and then I'll be quiet, is we talk about a wealth tax. We talk about the changes in the 20s and the great show 1923, is it, or whatever, played through. Here's the funny thing about 1923 from the Yellowstone universe, is that you play it all the way through to the present day, the same family still fucking owns the ranch, right? Like, so for all of the change, we already know where this goes, right? We're just like landed gentry hereditary control, right? Compounding assets, and so
Well, I don't think you actually know where Yellowstone ended, but that's okay. We'll forgive you for not watching all
The futuristic version will be 2022, which is when like GPT launched, and then the whole world changed after that.
There just better be a lot of cowboy hats. Like this is
there's
really
definitely going to be cowboy hats. Don't worry.
I think cowboy hats are coming back.
By the way, I love that Washington Post said that the cowboy hat should be the American hat.
I agree with that.
it is the American hat.
No, that apparently it's not the official American
The
hat.
baseball cap is the American hat, obviously.
No, because when they go to the Olympics, they send them with cowboy hats to like walk in the stadium.
Okay, Brit, you get your point, and then we're going to talk health for a second. Sorry.
Okay, I have some health things to say too. I was just wondering, this might be a health thing. Like everyone, a lot of people are talking about the 2030s being like the era of exuberance. And it's going to be like utopian, not necessarily AGI related. This is the internet. I dipped into the hive mind, and all the hive mind are talking about the 2030s and how like we're all going to be working less. We're going to cure all these diseases. We're going to be healthier and happier.
Please, this is every decade.
Every sci-fi book ever.
We're not going to have cars. Like our autonomous cars are taking us everywhere.
That one might be true.
2030s is going to be like the 2020s of 100 years ago. And so curious if anyone has thoughts on that.
I love that Europe is like, we will not have self-driving cars.
Of course. Well, they have cobblestone streets. It's like, they don't want to destroy everything.
Guys, self-driving cars are going to be everywhere. Is this like not a...
It's just better.
I'm in the real facts biz. These predictions are just it's too hard to know. I agree, Dave, we have to think about it.
Says but not venture capitalists.
Because we have to form a point of view too on like what we want. Like we have values that need to be injected into these things or that can be fought over. So I'm not like, I totally get that. It's just too much is in flux. Like for the first time, I wrote, the information staff has requested more communication from me, which is somewhat unbelievable. So I now write a monthly email with my random thoughts. First installment, guys, very popular. Very popular.
How do you gauge your popularity?
I want to see it.
I'll send it to you, David. Is there anything proprietary there?
I want to be on your list.
I should probably actually include some other people on the distribution list of this. There's a whole section.
More or less listeners also get 50% off.
Your team like asked for a private newsletter and then you're just, wait a minute, like this is really good. I should just sell it.
But if I make more money, then we hire more people and pay them more. So it's really a win-win-win.
Oh, we can't just make more money?
No, we can do both.
No, we're going to be careful of the wealth tax, Sam.
No, we're not. We're not worried about that.
I was saying that Jess actually might have Okay.
There's nothing else I could do to stop him except stream. Guys, this is like so scary. I mean, we have editors, I suppose.
I thought that was a good point.
My first point, you can make that point in a few years. My first point in this memo was that this year is not going to reward the planners. It's going to reward the doers and the seizers of opportunities. And like, there are just so many paths. Like strategy is important, but what's that phrase? Like execution each strategy for lunch or whatever. Like I think 2026 is really going to be about that. So I was focused on that. The second section, which I'm not going to reveal what I said, but I sort of stumbled into, was like, if we're having coffee right now and you're in industry stores, here are all the things I'm asking you about. So it was sort of not these, often people want like big themes and all, but like the big themes are like AI, enterprise, robots. But this was like, this is my list of things I'm dying to know. And if you happen to call me or cross me in the street, like, here's the set of questions that you're going to get as of
I want to know. I want this newsletter.
2 p.m. on Monday. So that was good. And then I probably only heard from the people who enjoyed it. Let's be real.
That's how it works.
But I've been at this long enough to understand that. But it's coming every month. I don't know what to name it, though. My team has code names for it.
I'm excited.
Okay. I have to interview someone in 3 minutes. OpenAI and health. What do we think? Like, are we as consumers bullish on this, or we think it's going to help OpenAI's business? Basically, they're carving out health features into a separate app, pushing more of the use cases and stories around how people are using it for health. I'm a 2 thumbs up on this.
Okay. I found it to be meh. Like, duh. Of course, there's going to be a thing where it helps you connect all of your health data into one model. Gemini is going to do this. Anthropic's going to do this.
We had also heard which company they were buying to do this. Yeah.
It's fine. I think it's how people are organically using it. So it makes sense, but it's not like this huge breakthrough thing.
No, it's just smart observation of data. Like it's clear this is an enormous part of their use case.
However, whoever wins the ingestion of all the data though first is going to have such a superior advantage, unless you're Sam Lessin and you think you can just export from one model to another, which I tried and it was very difficult. Because if I have my Aura ring and my 8 sleep and my Pronuvo scans and my function, everything, my chart, I just want to put it all in one place.
But won't everyone just connect to it?
Am I just going to do this for Apple and Gemini and GPT?
That's what you're already doing.
Well, I'm doing it because I'm weird and I like to test all the different models, but normal people are going to pick one and just stick with it. So I just didn't understand where their competitive edge came from, but it felt like table stakes they had to get it this far.
I mean, I think the answer to your business question, Jess, is that there's maybe a big enterprise thing here where this goes into, health systems, insurance companies, there is a something there. I don't know what the business exactly looks like, but there's certainly a something.
But wasn't everyone going to compete for that?
Maybe.
Google Health is probably going after that too, Apple.
I think it matters more to OpenAI to get that enterprise business than it does to Google.
Brit, I had total Google Health vibes. I mean, were you at Google for the Marissa's Vault launch?
I was at Google. My friend Missy ran Google Health. Yeah.
I mean, it was just and it was so optimistic and then went exactly nowhere. This was one of those, and they just shut it down.
Yeah. Apple Health, I would say, has been the most successful thing so far.
Which is rare. Google doesn't even shut things down. So when they shut things down, you're I'm not as into the integrating data and all of that, because honestly, you take a photo of your blood test results and, if you want to cross out your name, cross them out, and then put it in there. But I do think it is a really wonderful AI use case. And I do find when I text my doctor or I text OpenAI with a photo of something, I really trust the OpenAI advice. It is similar to the doctors and it's reasonable and it outlines good follow-up good branch paths, and it will tell you if it take another photo from this angle and stuff. So I hope that it's something that's really, really helpful to people. Yeah. And selling to doctor space, there's been some movement there, right? Well, I always forget. We just broke the news of their fundraise, but what's the big kahuna in that space? Open evidence. Yeah. They're crushing it.
It's interesting how this interacts with open evidence. I was thinking about that. My cousin, you guys all know, is a doctor, and we spend a bunch of time in Christmas with him, and open evidence has just dramatically changed his practice. And I was wondering, obviously they're doing something different, but this also kind of points at that OpenAI is going in this direction as well. So how do those two interplay? Does it impact their business if it is successful at a massive scale?
Yeah. Well, I wish OpenAI best of luck on this. I think it's a great tool. I think trying to integrate all these things that aren't really is sort of a fool's errand. Again, there are pretty easy ways to import data into these. Okay, what else? Any parting thoughts? Pop culture corners? What's coming up? The Golden Globes are coming up. That's all I know. We're not going. That's why. What else?
Did you want to go, really?
I did. I did want to go.
You were welcome to go.
No, I can't. Guys, I don't want to be the person on here who complains about Davos for 4 weeks in a row. So I will save my complaints. But
about Golden Globes?
No, Davos. I just have visions of me with I don't have a live television studio that is mobile at this point. I'm not and so I'm literally on calls with production assistants we're going to hand you a hard drive. And I'm no, that's not going to work. Just for some of these interviews. So anyway, I have an amazing team and we're going to crush it with content. And I'm really overall excited.
We're deep in the sports realm over here at the Morin House. We've got college football playoffs. We've got NFL playoffs. We've got Super Bowl coming to San Francisco. It's like the Warriors.
I mean, the Giants last week, that was just like a heartbreaking game. It was just heartbreaking.
Taylor Swift documentary.
Guys, it was a heartbreaking 49ers game. I said Giants. I'm so tired.
Travis Kelce, maybe retiring, maybe not. We're waiting to hear.
He's still retiring.
He's still retiring and they're having a baby is my prediction.
I don't know. You think he's going to retire? I think he's still got it.
We'll find out. This is exactly why people are listening to this podcast. But I'm with you very wrapped on the end of football season. And Benson Boone's coming back to town right before the Super Bowl, everybody. I know that I can be here as your official Benson reporter in chief because everyone's dying to know. And I think that's it. Okay, well, we set a tone for the year. I'm not sure exactly what tone was set. Perhaps the tone, we'll try to bring, I had so many bullet points and all we brought was energy, but hopefully this was an informative listen. So to our amazing listeners and viewers, thank you guys for following. Please check us out on the YouTube. Love the YouTube. It's really performing for TITV. So we're going to keep plugging the YouTube.
Guys, should we try to grow this podcast this year or just kind of do it?
I think we should. Let's get after it. It turns out you have to grow things.
To be clear, we're not going to do any like work to grow it. I just like, should we have like a work like a vibe?
Yeah.
Like a growth mindset.
Yeah, let's have a growth mindset.
Manifest it.
I'm going to manifest. We're going to manifest people to listen to us.
Okay. We'll try it. It'll be a story. Okay, friends.
I think we haven't been manifesting hard enough.
You're not embodied enough, Sam.
Brit, can you bring us a vision board next week?
Yes, I've got many.
She'll vibe code one. She'll vibe code a vision board for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with this.
That is a great. I'm going to ask all the AIs to make me a personal vision board.
Gosh, what is Sam's vision board gonna look?
Guys, we didn't even get into Sam's New Year fashion. I hope he's wearing a colored shirt.
More importantly, I'm wearing deodorant.
You're welcome, Jess.
You've upgraded, Jess.
This is 20 years of husband training.
I should have led with this.
Yeah, Jessica just like for the first time in a long time gave me feedback.
I said he's 42 and I thought it was time to wear real clothes. And I've been delighted ever since. So
I am looking forward to all the ways I can delight my wife in 2026. It's the year of wife delighting.
New Year's resolutions usually fall off by February 8th, just so everyone's clear.
To be clear, they need specific feedback.
So a month from now, let's check and see if he's still wearing deodorant.
If I'm still every episode we can start with, is Sam delighting his wife?
What does specific mean to you, Sam?
Like wear deodorant. That's a specific request.
I don't even think I asked for the deodorant. It just came with the clothes. I did? Okay, great.
I think you were very happy in that moment, but you definitely asked for deodorant too.
For my mental health and for our listeners' mental health, I'm going to draw this podcast to a close. So thank you, friends. We'll see you back here next week for another episode of More or Less. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
If you enjoyed this show, please leave us a virtual high five by rating it and reviewing it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Find more information about each episode in the show notes and follow us on social media by searching for @MoreOrLess, @DaveMorin, @Lesson, @JLesson, and as for me, I'm @Brit. See you guys next time.